As the title says, in this video I'm going to be going over a few things that I'd like to see added into the game of Stellaris. I wanted to see these things added for quite a long time now, and I'm finally making a video about it. And the reason I'm doing this video now is because something interesting happened after I made my Ecumenopolis video like a month ago. Because not long afterwards, a new Stellaris update was released, where they basically fixed everything I was complaining about in that video. And, I'm not saying that the Stellaris developers saw my video, in fact they almost definitely did not, it has no views, but I feel like I should make this video whilst this luck lasts. But before I get into what I want added there, I'm going to preface this by saying that what I want changed is usually just not that big. It's not going to fundamentally change the game, it's just little stuff that will make the game easier, and that will make it more flavorful and better, as well as some little things I'd like to see fixed. So the first thing I'd like to see added is effects on the galactic map. Now what do I mean by this? By this I don't mean effects like we have now with the borders, but effects with when you build a Dyson sphere, or when you build a ring world, that you could see it on the galactic map. Because you see, in the far past, you could turn off all of the filters, all of the galactic filters, and you'd be left with just a galaxy full of stars, which they removed for some reason. I think they should re-add that, by the way, just as a side thing. But I used to, at the end of a game, always just turn off all the filters, lean back in my chair, and look at the beautiful, untainted galaxy that laid before me, that no matter what I achieved, it is all just so small in the grand scheme of things, and the galaxy looks peaceful on the outside. However, there are things that you could have seen from that view, like the Dyson swarms or ring worlds, and I think it's a little weird that if you encase an entire star in a Dyson sphere that you don't see that from that map view, because you should be. It's an entire thing. So what I'd like to see basically is a little Dyson sphere and a little ring around a star on the galactic map. I think that would be very cool. The next thing I'd like to see added is better troop recruitment, because later in the game, if you do not have a Colossus weapon, in order to take over planets, you need lots of ground troops, and the only way to recruit them now is by clicking each ground troop one by one in the recruitment menu, and it's kind of painful. I do not think it'd be especially hard to add a thing there where you just type in a number, how many troops of what type you want to recruit, and then click enter, and then it just recruits those troops, so we don't need to spend a lot of time clicking. And whilst we're on the planets, let's talk about the goddamned resolution of the cities. You see, in the past, the cities, when you look at the planet management screen, were further away, and therefore the resolution didn't seem bad. In fact, it seemed good. Outside of maybe the aquatic cities or the toxoid cities. The resolutions were they were not very good, but they were manageable. Now, however, these cities are way the fuck closer, they're way bigger, and the resolution is not changed, and it looks very pixelated. I think it looks terrible. I would really like if they upped the resolution, because it looks a little ridiculous now, so up close. And also, whilst we're on cities, why the hell do they not fix whatever this is? Why the hell is this floating back there? Have the developers not looked at the goddamn cities when they added them in? What is this? And what the hell is this? Developers, please fix. Why is this here? Just bleh. Next up, I have a very niche thing. For some reason, and I didn't know this up until recently, apparently the Holy Guardian Fallen Empire cannot become the Galactic Guardian. Because normally, when a galactic crisis happens, the enigmatic observers, or the Keepers of Knowledge, can wake up and become the defenders of the galaxy, basically. That would help you and try to defeat whatever is plaguing the galaxy, whether it being a crisis or the Great Tempest or whatever. For some reason, though, the Holy Guardians cannot become the Galactic Guardians. I do not know why. They seem not terrible compared to all the other fallen empires. Now, I do understand why the xenophobic one doesn't want to become the Galactic Guardian, because it sucks and they are terrible, but the Holy Guardians, I do not know why. They have Guardians in the name. What are you doing, Stellaris? Please. Next up, we have Gaia Worlds, or more specifically, how Gaia Worlds look. because for some reason the Gaia worlds only look one way, and by that I do not mean how the background looks, because that looks the same on all planets, but what I mean is how it actually looks when you're looking at the planet from above. All Gaia worlds have the same look to them. It's basically a recolored texture used in one of the tropical world ones, and for some reason, if you terraform Earth and Mars, for all the other planet types, you have very specific looks to them. For example, if you terraform Mars into a desert world, it looks something like this, and each planet type has its own unique look because Earth and Mars have special looks to them, which is cool. Not for Gaia worlds though. For some reason, if you terraform them into either Hive worlds or Gaia worlds, they do not retain their look. Like, why? They already did it for all the other worlds, why not for those? Whatever. They could have literally just taken the tropical look and recolored it for the Gaia world. What are they doing? Next up, what I want to see added is a backstory for individualistic machines. When individualistic machine empires came out, I was kind of stoked. I do like the idea of individualistic machines finally being a thing. However, for some reason, the developers kind of half-baked them. And what I mean by that is usually if you play a normal hive mind machine empire, there is like a backstory to what happened to the biological empire or civilization that created them. With the determined exterminators, they were exterminated. With the driven assimilators, they were assimilated and are still there. And with the rogue servitors, they are still there being pampered. And with a regular one that doesn't have any of those civics, you can see planetary blockers with some remain of the biological species that was there. It's not a concrete story of what happened to the biologicals there, but there is at least something. But for some reason, the individualistic machines are treated as regular biological empires, but as machines. The backstory is not explained at all. There's not even a blocker indicating that there was a previous biological civilization on that planet, and it doesn't even say whether it was just a regular species that synthetically ascended a few hundred years early and now they are all machines. It's nothing, they just are there for some reason. If they just added like a blocker, like, oh yeah, there was a biological species here before, I think that would add quite a bit, because right now it just seems like they kind of spawned into the world and started building civilization, and it's a little weird in my opinion. Whilst we are discussing stories though, pre-FTL interactions are also a little half-baked, because they seem to have no continuity between them whatsoever, and here are just some examples that I experienced in my time playing the game. For an example, there is an event where one person, one individual, takes over the entire planet of the pre-FTL civilization, and what happens then afterwards is they shift to fanatic authoritarian, and you get a bunch of research and unity and whatever, and everything's great. It's fine. However, then right afterwards you can get an event where one of your science ships crashes onto the planet, and then after you retrieve it, the sentence that is said afterwards is that, oh yeah, the nation state that discovered the crater where our science ship landed blamed that crash on another nation state. What? They were united, were they not, just like 10 seconds ago? Or what if you kidnap a scientist? You always disable the primitive combustion engines of the car, even if the civilization is in the Bronze Age. And events that should be seemingly exclusive for regular pre-FTLs can happen to hive minds, even though it makes no sense. I cannot bring up any specifics here, but I do remember it happening, and it makes no sense whatsoever. So, I don't know, those also seem half-baked. I really think they should have thought it through. Like, I know it's not that big a deal, none of these are, but then again, yeah, it's a little silly seeing that happen all the time. Then, another thing I'd like to see changed is the deep space citadels look very off if you are using biological ships, because if you're using biological defense platforms, they do not contrast well. I don't know, if you just added a biological citadel, you know, they were added in the same update as you added the biological ships, why couldn't you have made them organic as well? They could have fit better, but no, they have just one design, which I'm fine with. Like, you don't need every ship design deep space citadel, but it does look a little weird with the organic defense platforms. If I'm going to be honest, I don't think it looks too good. Another minor thing I'd like to see added is planet modifiers to your homeworld. because there are planet modifiers to planets that can either help you, harm you, or change up the game a little bit, that you can see on all planets, like tidally locked, or poor mineral quality, or lush, or high gravity, low gravity, whatever, those kinds of things. And I would really like to be able to add those to your home planet when you are starting. I think it would add so much to the stories you can create with certain empires, like, oh, this planet had a low gravity, therefore this society will evolve in this way, and so on. You can do that with a whole lot of modifiers, positive, negative, or neutral. Neutral being that they have both positive and negative effects. And I think it would be kind of nice if they added that feature, like you could just add traits to the planet. Well, multiple or just one, I think that would be cool. It would cause a little balancing issues if you're playing multiplayer. Like you just add all the positive trait, like ultra high quality minerals, lush, hyper ecosystem where you basically don't need to pay any food upkeep. Like, I get that. But it's not like Stellaris is perfectly balanced. Things are regularly banned from multiplayer servers anyway because of just how overpowered they are. So I don't think adding those would change much. I think it would just add a cool, flavorful thing to the game. I think that would be nice. And the last thing I have on my list here, which is also something that would help massively with the stories you can create, is to link Lost Colony empires to regular empires that you've made. And what I mean by that is that if you're playing the Commonwealth of Man, you will always get the United Nations of Earth as the advanced AI start that you came from, right? They are linked, those two empires, and I think it would be very cool if you created your own Lost Colony empire, which you can, and when you do, it will spawn a random advanced empire of your same species in the galaxy. Cool, I like it, but I think it would be way cooler if you could create what that empire is. If you could link them up, basically, somehow in the empire creation menu. Like, it wouldn't be necessary, like it wouldn't be mandatory for you to link an empire you created before with the Lost Colony empire, but I think it would be very cool if you could. That, however, is where I'm going to end this for now. I could mention a few other things, like a deeper ground combat rework, an espionage rework, or even fixing that one ruined ring section in the Shattered Ring origin, but I'm going to end it here. Write your own suggestions in the comments. Perhaps the Stellaris developers really are watching my videos, in which case your suggestions maybe will be heard as well. That's enough for this video though. See you next time.